So what was the, or Kyle, you can probably relate this better, the whole, or both of you, the whole money situation. When you went in there initially, did they kind of prime you and say like, hey, don't go to commissary and drop, big money.
Yes.
Go there and spend like $6 on ramen or something.
Yeah. So just to let you know, production actually puts money on your books. But they tell you in the beginning, they don't put a lot of money, like maybe $30 or $40 a week. And when you buy phone time and all that, it doesn't work out to where you have a lot. But yes, every to answer your question on that, they would tell you don't make yourself a target, because the moment you go and you buy a whole store, and I've watched some of these other seasons, especially season 6 here recently, where one guy, I think it was Tony, got like freaking 500 ramen noodle packets and stuff like that. Now, Tony could back it up, okay? Tony looks like he could whoop some butt and take some names. But that was a big thing that A&E said. Production people said, do not make yourself a target.
Yeah, there was one guy in season 3 or maybe season 4 that as soon as he stepped foot in, he treated it like it was supermarket sweep. And he was like, I need all of that, he just had a giant satchel. And immediately this one like jacked black dude, like his interview happens and he's not someone who's in on the show. He's like, I'm going to push up on everybody. I'm pushing up on everybody in this. And immediately he like goes to that guy and is like, give me your chips. No, give me your magazines. The guy had a stack of magazines and he gave here you go. Here's all my magazines I just spent money on. Like,
that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. You don't give your stuff up. Even as a participant, man, the moment you give your stuff up, you make yourself a target, because they'll see you as a weak-minded, and so you didn't really see a lot. But I would trade commissary even in my season, but I would make sure if I gave you a pack of ramen, I got 2 in return. So you never at any point do you. Yeah. So seeing some of that, but it is what it is. But once, as I said, the editing is also sometimes so substantial that it's like, okay, what do I believe and what do I don't believe?
Yeah. But was there there was one season I was watching that when they have that little round table at the end, one of the women did drugs, like smoked pot or did some like weird drug mixture paste. And everybody's like, oh, that's bullshit. And she was like, no, everybody liked me after that. Nobody thought I was in the program after that. Yeah. Were you ever offered drugs or were tempted? You don't seem like a drug user normally, but were you ever tempted like, man, if I do this, I'll be really in. They'll know that I'm not on this program.
Okay. So, no, I was never offered drugs, strangely enough, because I guess I was Bible study guy.
Yeah, I like the episode when the guys were making hooch in their cell and like trying to hide it, and it wasn't like they were making like a bottle of alcohol. Hooch is like contraband alcohol that they're making using like fruit pulp that they're getting from either commissary or from their lunch trays. They weren't making a bottle of it. They had like 3 gallons of it they were cooking up in like a tote.
How do you even hide that?
It smells so strongly if you've never smelled it. Like it's potent, sort of sweet, rotten sort of smell. If you get anywhere near it, you smell it. It was outrageous that they thought they could hide that.
So the police just didn't care. The correctional officers didn't.
No, they walked in the cell, was like, I smell hooch. And they like drag out a tote full of alcohol, and it's like a gigantic trash bag full of this stuff. And they're like, all right, whose is it? And the one guy's like, it's mine. All right, come on, you're going to the hole. And they drag him out of there. He was done.
How strong is hooch? Is that like a vodka level thing? Or you always hear the phrase toilet wine.
Yeah, I think it's more like wine. I think you're looking at like 10 or 12% alcohol.
And it's made, I wouldn't care for that. But if it's all you've got, it'd probably pass the time.
Or another thing is orange pills. Did you ever see orange pills?
No.
They'll dry them out and smoke them. Yeah.
In the prison I was in, they just had real alcohol. Like they would have somebody go and throw alcohol over the fences or fly it in with drones. And then when we'd go out for rec time, they would just go out there and they would pick up a bottle of alcohol, stuff it down their pants, and they'd be back in the dorms that night.
Great idea, drones.
Yeah, drones have become more and more now. That's the preferred method because there's a sense of risk. So what a lot of people will do is they'll fill in the past is they would fill the drugs, the cell phones, whatever, in a football or a soccer ball, and then they throw it over. I don't know why I had to demonstrate throw it over. But there you go.
Throwing, I get it.
Yeah, but, whatever. But now there's always a risk, an inherent risk with that, and now it's become a lot easier. Just fly it in, out, and you don't have a chance of getting caught.
Yeah. But there was every drug where I was, like every conceivable drug. You would smell the marijuana, and what do they call that fucking synthetic marijuana that's always messing people up? Spice. Yeah. There would be a lot of people with spice, and but cigarettes was the main contraband item. That the guards didn't give a damn about cigarettes or tobacco in general, as long as you didn't do it right under their noses. But as soon as the guards walked like in to do a head count, like everybody that smoked went to the bathroom to light up a cigarette.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point, because anything that we planned in our pod was based on the guard schedule, because they would walk through and you knew as soon as they walked out the door, they wouldn't be back for 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So everything from whether it be drugs or fights or whatever was planned around when they left.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't remember the exact schedule, but I think they'd come through around 9 p.m. or like 9:30 p.m. and then it would be like another 3 hours before they came back through. We would have 2.5, 3 hours at a time of like no guards whatsoever at nighttime. So that's when everybody would smoke or get up to whatever else they wanted to get up to.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any fights at your prison, Kyle?
Not while I was there, I don't think. Not in front of me for sure. Yeah,
that's because they didn't want to mess with Kyle. They knew Kyle would whoop their.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that was it. That was fine.
When I first heard about you, I heard that you were a ninja by training.
I do have some ninja training.
Dabbled.
I've dabbled in the ninja arts. I watched every season of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a child. I had the van that shot the pizzas, so that was
your ass, because I watched every season of Street Sharks.
I love Street Sharks. I know the theme song of Street Sharks. Get out of here.
All right, well then we're equally matched.
Very well. Okay, I'll take that. Yeah. No, I don't think I ever saw any fights. I know I didn't see any. I definitely saw people get a little rowdy and like threaten each other. And I was told of some fights that had happened before I had gotten there. Like in my cell, somebody had gotten the shit beaten out of them. I don't remember what for.
What's a cell in the context? Because I picture like a really big room with.
No, yeah, our cells were weird. It was a gigantic dorm room with these concrete dividers that on me they would come up to right about here, so like 5.5 feet or something like that. But there's no door. There's just concrete dividers splitting rooms alongside the wall. So one of your walls is the wall of the dorm with a little bullshit window in it, and then to your left is a 5.5 foot tall cinder block wall, and to your right is as well. And then there's just an open space to walk into a hallway.
It's the world's easiest to solve maze.
Yes. Yeah, there's no maze to it at all, really. And, there's along each side of the wall, there was a row of these cells, if you will. And then down the center, there was 2 rows of them as well. So, yeah, we were just locked in a big dorm with 125, 150 guys.
You said you were in a cell. Is that what you refer to as you and the guy, the bunk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we called those rooms. We called them cells or cubes.
Okay.
It was one or the other. You called your buddy your celly. I'm really interested in the hellhole that was your prison and how it became so much worse by accident. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but your bail was something like $750,000 initially, right?
Initially, yeah.
And your family all got together and raised, mortgaged a home, and a relative of yours who was a retired policeman came and spoke on your behalf at a bail hearing to try to get that reduced so that potentially you could get out and get back on the street again until you await trial, I suppose. And that backfired, right?
The bail was doubled to $1.5 million cash only, and I was reallocated from medium security to maximum security. Now, I'd seen the cockroaches here and there, but I got to my cell in max security at about 2 a.m. And there's a bit of light slanting in from the day room. I notice it's only a 2-man cell. There's 2 bunks at the back of the wall. Go in, and I'm wondering why my cellmate's asleep on the top bunk. Because where I come from, people fight over the bottom bunk, thinking something's not quite right. Walking a little bit around in the cell, something drops off the ceiling and bounces off my shoulder. Like, what was that? Looking at the walls and the ceiling, there's like a swirl effect. And I'm thinking, all right, my eyes are playing tricks. So I put my face right up to the wall, and it's just absolutely covered in American cockroaches. Nothing like I'd ever seen before in my life. So I'm thinking, all right, how's he asleep up there? He's wrapped a sheet around him. So 8 at night is locked down, 10 lights out. The roaches know when the lights are about to go out. They start lining up in the cracks in the wall in this old building, doing this little movement with their antennae sticking out, like an army waiting to invade. So as soon as the lights go out, they just flood the room. You've got a choice: wrap the sheet around you, look like the mummy, leave a breathing hole. It does keep them off you. But this is the Sonoran Desert. It's almost 50 degrees UK temperature, 120 US temperature in the summer. And there's a vent at the back of the cell attached to what's called a swamp cooler. The only time that air was blowing was when the county health inspector walked through the building, and as soon as he left, it went back to the broken setting. And what I mean is, we would ask the guards why it's working and just say, oh, it's broken. So wrap the sheet around me, and I've already got all these bleeding, skin infections, and bed sores from the heat. And when you wrap that sheet around you, you just start sweating so much, and you're itchy. Your skin has turned soggy because you're sweating every single day. You scratch yourself, clumps of your own skin detach under your nails. So in the end, I just throw the sheet off and let the cockroaches crawl on me.
So you were just slowly decomposing every night.
Yeah, rotting away. It looked like I spilt battery acid on my leg at one point. I had this just big infection on my leg. Because I'm sat on my ass a lot, I'm getting all these bed sores on my butt. And I put a tank order in, a medical request to see this doctor, and he tells me to drop my drawers, and he's going to check my ass out. And then he just goes to grab my dick, and I pull back. I'm like, whoa, there's nothing wrong with my dick.
Not yet.
Sorry. I'm just seeing if you can get hard. I'm just seeing if you can get hard. I'm just seeing if you can come. I'm just seeing if you can come. Yes.
When I got back to the medical waiting room, every other prisoner said he tried to grab their dicks as well. But back to the Roach story.
Yeah.
So sheet around you, it is way too hot and itchy. So you just throw the sheet off, let them crawl on you. Now they don't bite. They tickle your feet, tickle your legs. I woke up so many nights from tickling my hands. I flinch now if someone tickles my hands. But they get on your face, mouth, nose. The favorite place of all is going in your ears to eat your earwax. It's like honey to them.
Oh.
Literally, I had a little piece of towel and I washed my ear. I washed the earwax out of my ear one time with this little piece of towel, and I hung it near the sink. And the cockroaches, they crawled on the little piece of towel and they were pulsing right on where the earwax was. Like, honey, this is our honey. Feed me.
That's brilliant. The sacrificial towel.
I had a neighbor.
They knew where it came from.
I had a neighbor who was asthmatic. Wakes up one morning, out of breath, grabs his inhaler, takes a blast, shoots a live cockroach inside himself, starts freaking out, saying he can feel it moving around. He throws up his stomach contents, and somehow it's stuck inside him, and it won't even come out. Even in the daytime, there were so many prisoners were doing cockroach races on the day room tables, gambling on who would be the winner. Now, over time, you've got to just harmonize with your environment. And I was living with the cockroaches in that maximum security Madison Street jail for about a year. So in the end, I'm just chilling with them, watching their habits. They communicate through these chemical smells. If you threaten them, then these warrior ones come running under your door, what's up over here. Some of them have little pouches of babies. It looks like a section of a worm. And if they manage to get that under your bunk, and I would find them attached to books and stuff, all the babies hatch and they go absolutely everywhere.
Not the
but they will.
babies.
Yeah, all the little baby cockroaches, they're just all over the wall, just swirling and swirling, swirling. There was white ones. I don't know whether they were albinos or they were shedding their skin. People say they would survive a nuclear attack, and I agree. If you throw them in the toilet, they look like they're drowned. They're like this, but the little bastards are actually holding oxygen to themselves. And then I saw people just smash them and like completely flat. I'm reading my book. Look over an hour later, and the fingers reformed. it's just gone on to have a nice day. So
there was no concern at all. Obviously, there was no concern. So the prison themselves were like, all right, it's fine for every single inmate to just live in a sea of cockroaches. And that's just the way they live. And I'm sure that also made everybody a little on edge. Sleep's not great. And so probably made it more violent, more shitty, just a circular, pattern there, right?
Absolutely. The violence was nonstop. It's all racial gangs. So I'm white. I go in. Skinheads from the Aryan Brotherhood come up to me like, hey, we want a word with you. Get in that cell over there. You can't say no to these guys. They're just going to smash your head into the wall. So go into the cell. They close the door behind me, so it's almost closed. Biggest one gets in my face. He's like, what are your charges? I'm new to this. My charges are on a computer printout. Legal terminology. I don't know what it means. So I give the worst answer in the world. I say, I don't know what my charges mean. Now they've got me up against the wall about to attack me. What do you mean you don't know what your charges mean? Are you a chomo? Are you a chomo? I don't even know what a chomo is at this point.
You learn fast.
So that's child molester, and that is KOS, which means kill on sight.
Yeah.
Jeez. So in the end, I pulled out my charge sheet. They saw I was in for drugs. They saw I had big charges. I had a big bail bond, conspiracy, $750,000 cash only. They were like, God damn, you guys the mafia? Who guys were you killing or what? I was like, no, raves, ecstasy, we didn't kill anybody. And then they explain all the rules. It's like, if someone calls you a punk or a bitch or hits you, you have to fight them on the spot or else the whole gang will attack you. You must take showers or they'll smash you for bad hygiene. Can't go make you friends with the guards, they'll smash you for snitching. Can't sit at the tables with other races, they'll smash you for that. So they're constantly looking for people to beat up because that's how they earn their reputations and tattoos. To rise up in the gang, you've got to commit increasing acts of violence. To be fully patched into the AB, you've got to kill someone for them in the jail. So there's 4 gangs. There's the white gang is the AB, Aryan Brotherhood. Then you've got the Mau Mau is the black gang. Then you've got the Chicanos, and then you've got the Paisas. You got the all Mexican mafia. So it's just constant gang warfare in there, and it's all about the drugs. The absolute priority of the gang is getting the drugs in. Approximately 90% of the prisoners were injecting heroin, injecting crystal meth. The whole day just revolved around getting the drugs in. And that's why these jails now have created the ideal target market for gang members to sell drugs to because they can't get out of jail. And they've even got the guards bringing the drugs in for them to sell to them. And most of these people were arrested for crimes related to drugs. Young people came in back then. The biggest arrest category was weed possession. And then they leave addicted to heroin. They've got neo-Nazi tattoos. They've made their criminal connections in prison. They've got a criminal record. They can't get a job. And by the time they get out, they're converted into full-on criminals. Everybody I saw who got released just came right back. It's really sad. But that's how the prisons stay in business. It's $50,000 a year of taxpayers' money per prisoner as soon as they come back.
I'd written down, does that cruelty prevent repeat offenders? I wanted the answer to that, because it would make me not want to go back again. But I guess it
makes me not want to go.
Right? But it sounds like it creates better criminals or bigger criminals.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's the deterrent factor, but Arizona prides itself on that. It says we've got the toughest prisons. If you look at FBI stats, Arizona's got some of the highest reoffending in the whole of the country. So it's to do with the war on drugs. If you mass incarcerate low-level drug users, which is what most prisoners are, in the TV you see prisoners are like Pablo Escobar, Hannibal Lecter. That's all the media reports is extreme crimes on one side and how easy they got it on the other. They got PlayStations, they got gourmet food, they got luxuries. And this is how the media tricks the public into hating on prisoners. But when you get in there, the average arrest I saw was a black kid or a Mexican kid with a little bit of weed getting like a 2 to 5 year sentence. I had a cellmate who got caught with a roach. He got a 18-month sentence. I was there when a Vietnam vet got sentenced. A black guy, he'd been shot in the head by a sniper. He'd won Purple Heart Medal for bravery. Prosecutor said he's unemployed. He's got a nice new car. There was some crumbs of cocaine on the car. He must be a dealer. And judge was like, bam, sent him away for almost 10 years like that. So it's a prison industrial complex that preys on the poorest sections of society.
That ties into one of my questions, the guard relationship. So you made friends with Snow. You didn't make friends with guards. They weren't there to protect you. Is that a bad idea?
So that's a terrible idea, and I had to stop that. The guards wanted to be friends, and I had to tell them to get the fuck away from me. The guards recognized me, like 2 or 3 of them did, and those 2 or 3 told their buddies who I was, and then they became like fast fans, and they all wanted like autographs and to like talk to me and ask me about all kinds of stuff that I'd done, and they kept coming by my cube talking to me, and Snow was like, "Hey man, I see you talking to those guards a lot. What's up?" And I'm like, well, they're coming by because I do this thing on the internet with guns and stuff, and they've seen it before and they like it. So they're kind of like fans. And he's like, oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. But everybody ain't gonna believe that. He's like, that looks bad. He's like, that looks like you snitching, you know, because they seem to like you a lot and you just got here, you know? That don't make no sense. And I'm like, shit, you're right. Yeah. So I have to tell this guard, I'm like, hey man, I appreciate you coming by. It's nice to talk to somebody who isn't a fucking criminal, but you got to stop. And you tell the others not to stop too, because these guys are looking at us right now. Turn around. And like, sure enough, there's a dude over there like fucking watching.
Just mean mugging you.
Listening in, trying to see what I'm saying. See if I'm telling about snitching. See if I'm fucking snitching. And I'm like, they think I'm a snitch already. Like day one they have, and y'all are friendly with me, and I just got here, and like I would love to go to your house and chill and have a good old time and drink a beer, but I can't be seen with you like this because it's looking bad. So then the guards cut that out and they stopped it. They respected what I said and they understood it. So I definitely had to shut that down right away. That was not going well.
So, but your situation's special. Could a regular person use that tactic of like, I don't know, just getting a little guard protection? It seems like that's what guards do. They don't guard people. No, fuck no. No, they guard you from me. They guard the civilian from the felon. They're there to keep you there. That is their only concern. That is all they care about. They'll come through. The only thing they would ever yell about, they would scream it. Don't you fuck up my count. Because they're coming through to count everybody. And you know they're coming because they just announced it. And you know what time they were coming anyway. So if you're in the fucking shower and when they come around to count and they count everybody and it comes up one short because your ass was in the shower and they got to come back around, they might take you to the shoe for that.
Really?
Yeah. I saw a guy get threatened severely because he was in the shower. He'd been there a year. He was this gay guy that was next to me in the cube next to me. He was in the shower when count time came around. And he was like, I just didn't know. And I'm like, motherfucker, I've been here for a month and I know. How do you not know? And he's like, I lost track of time. And I'm like, well,
don't.
Everybody seems very upset with you. He's like, nah. The next day, they fucking straightened him out right away. They cussed his ass out and screamed.
Guards?
Some dudes. No. Some inmates. Yeah. Because they'll lock us all down. They'll lock us down and like they'll take our microwave away, or they'll take our television privileges away, or they'll take our rec time away, or they'll do something like that. They'll fuck everybody up over one guy. And
it's like the military in that way, it seems.
Yeah, and so that we'll punish the offender. Yeah, and that's all it's about. They would never say that, but that's what it's about. There was a guy right before I got in there who had snitched on somebody over a cell phone. They had cell phones are one of the worst things you can have in there, like as far as getting in trouble. For whatever reason, in my opinion, they should just let us have cell phones and because I don't get it. I don't know why we can't have them, but we can't. There's a lot of cell phones in there. I would go into the bathroom and I could hear the guy in the stall talking to his girlfriend. Yeah, babe. Yeah, I'm just chilling up in here doing what I do. How's little Ray Ray? And I'm like, all right, let's finish this piss, get out of here. Don't want to be in here. Don't need to hear about Ray Ray.
I don't need to hear about Ray Ray. I don't. As far as I know, there is no Ray Ray.
That's right. Is there a Ray Ray? I don't know. So he snitched on this guy over his cell phone. Well, the next day, 3 dudes beat the dog shit out of him in the cube until there's blood on the floor. And then at the end of the day, they decide that's not enough of a beating. So they chase him out to the end of the rec yard and beat the shit out of him again over snitching on them over this cell phone because they knew it was him. I think most of the time you don't know who told on you. But in this instance, they were like, that's the motherfucker right there. And plus he wasn't popular enough or protected enough or with a group of people enough that you could single this guy out and whip his ass. Kind of like I was. And
as it's like happening across the rec field or whatever, are there not guards like just watching that?
Nowhere near. You could murder somebody out there, nobody know.
God damn.
Cubemates. So you mentioned Block at the top of the show, and I thought he was going to turn into an ally, but we haven't heard him since.
Nah, he was gone pretty quick. He moved to a different cell because there's 3 of us in there and 2 is the standard. So he went somewhere where he'd be doubled up. Then Greg came in. Greg's a 50-year-old black guy who's the most annoying motherfucker on the planet as far as I'm concerned. Real nice guy. Not only the man talks to himself, he eats all day long, and he puts the most disgusting stuff. He's a black guy. He puts the most disgusting hair treatment in his hair that I've ever known to man. It's a mixture of kerosene and those big fat permanent markers that could get you high if you sniffed them.
Okay.
It's that. He's rubbing a gel that smells like that in his hair. It's so strong that I'll be covered up like a blanket over my head, sleeping in the middle of the day, and I'll go, wake me out of my sleep.
Smelling salts.
I don't even have to look. I know that Greg is on the other side of that blanket, putting his daily 4 times a day. He put it in. I counted. Plenty of time. 4 times a day.
Yeah.
4 times a day. He puts his hair treatment in, and he talks to himself about everything. All right, about to start this Monday morning. Yes, sirree. Start another day, silly. You call your cellmates cellies.
Okay.
So he's talking to me, but not really talking to me. I found out quickly that he doesn't expect a response from me. Just maybe a nod or an acknowledgement or a smile. Yeah, silly. My silly about to get on up out of here. About to get on up out, get to the house.
He's dictating your life too.
Yeah.
My silly feeling a little constipated. I can tell.
I saw you eating them prunes. Eat a few of them. You gonna poop it out. It's like I got Bill Cosby sitting right next to me 24 hours a fucking day.
I can't follow your roommate situation. So you moved in, you were the 3rd. Snow leaves. Greg moves in.
Block leaves.
I said it
Snow
wrong.
was never his roommate.
I made a mistake. And Block leaves. Greg moves in. You're back to 3.
Back to 3.
Okay, well, I am keeping up.
Then David leaves, and then it's just me and Greg.
Lucky
David
you.
had enough of Greg.
So
I asked David. I was like, "Hey man, why'd you move?" He's like, "Man, I couldn't take much more of him." He was like, "How do you stand it?" I was like, "I didn't know I had an option. Can I just leave?"
Cell changes?
Could you leave, or when it was down to 2, you can't leave anymore?
I think I could have left, but that would have been pretty obvious why I was leaving, right? I didn't want to be rude to Greg. And Greg's
gonna walk over to your new son and be like, "My former Sally about to catch an ass whooping."
Getting the lock
realize
in
he
the
grievously underestimated Greg.
The
now
shiv's in
Sally's
the public
nosebleed.
area.
Sally gonna wish he hadn't fucked with Greg.
How's my hair smell now?
Just so annoying. Nice guy. But
it's so funny that someone that's just annoying as fuck is in prison too, and the same rules apply. Where it's like, God, this guy, bless his heart, but he fucking sucks.
Yeah, he sucked so much. Nobody liked him. Everybody. Snow called him kerosene because he thought he smelled like kerosene. But Snow can't pronounce kerosene, so it sounded more like cherosene. Snow. When Snow said shank, like a shank you'd stab somebody with, he said chank. Yeah, they come at me with a chank. He come in with chank in the kitchen. I was gonna box him. I said, I don't need no blade, Holmes. I got these bows to cut you up. And I'm like, all right, man. Sounds good. Snow's also
going for a run.
This is during the run. During the run, he would tell me crime stories. He would tell me all his criminal history, even that the federal government didn't know about. He told me all. First of all, man's 48 years old. He has a son 2 years older than me. 2 years older than me. I'll save you the math. He was 13 and a half.
Thank you. It was incalculable over here.
Had his first son when he was 13, and he married that girl, but he kept some bitches on the side. You got to. And he's just telling me all of his exploits, both criminal, personal, family life, talking about the time they drove by, shot him, and we stopped, and he shows me the bullet wounds. Talking about this time they stabbed him in medium security, and he shows me this stab wound that looks like Frankenstein fucking stitched it up.
God damn.
All this crazy shit. Talking about all the fights he's gotten into. He almost got into 3 fights while I was there, but people would back down when he came after him. Like they would apologize and like put their hands up. He was just that
big from his pull-up regimen.
I mean, he was just down to fight, and if you get in a fight in there, you're in trouble. And what did he say? You got to represent. That's what he'd say. I was like, man, you're about to get out. You got to keep your head down. He's like, got to represent. And I was like, who are you representing? The family. And I'm like,
oh, you said he was part of a Mexican crime family.
He's part of a Mexican crime family. They tried to charge him for an extra blanket in the commissary, or not the commissary, the laundry. He said, yo, you trying to tax the family? Do I need to let my people know? And he was like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, you better ask around. I'll be back for my blanket. He came back. I saw him an hour later with a blanket. He's like, you want a blanket? I'll get you one too. I'm like, I don't want to be involved with the family. I don't need a blanket at all. You can have mine if that's what it takes, but don't involve me with your blanket crime family nonsense, man. Yeah,
Well, I was determined to do it because I said to a guard, how'd you guys get away with this? You know, the dead rats in the food, the cockroaches all over us at night time, guards murdering prisoners. And the guard said to me, the world has no idea what's going on in here, and the public doesn't give a shit about prisoners. So with a tiny little pencil, like a golf pencil, sharpened on the cell door, I started to write everything down. Now, I couldn't put these things in the mail because the guards could open the mail, but my aunt was visiting me in maximum security. Now, in maximum security visits, she's behind like a plexiglass screen. It's like Silence of the Lambs when Clarice Starling first meets Hannibal Lecter. Yeah. I've got like leg chains on, belly chains on. I've got one hand chained to a table, and the other I'm able to hold.
Other hand full of semen.
I've washed that off. I've washed that off before
just like in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. Multiple MIGs. I can smell you. All right, so she's on the other side of the plexiglass. I'm not allowed to hand anything to my aunt either. I couldn't put what I wrote in the mail. The guards could open the mail. So what I did was I hid what I wrote in legal papers and old letters and documents I could release to my aunt through the visitation guard. So to do that, I had to put a request in. I'm penguin shuffling up to the visitation room with this pile of old letters and stuff. It's all hidden in there. So the guard takes it, puts it on his table. I'm talking to my aunt, looking over at that stuff at the corner of my eye. My heart rate is up, thinking he's going to look through it and suss out what I've written. And there's going to be consequences. But they're trained to look for contraband, syringes, drugs, cash, things like that. So he didn't check it out properly. At the end of the visit, the paperwork was handed to my aunt, and she took them home in Arizona, typed them up, emailed them to my family in England. And that's how my blog, John's Jail Journal, started. And the first stuff I wrote down was when the jail had no running water for 3 days. And I knew we were in trouble when the mound of crap in the toilet had risen above the water level.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So inmates display, remarkable ingenuity during these difficult occasions. And the solution was to shit in the plastic bags the moldy breakfast bread is served in. And then you just keep those bags in your cells until you're allowed out for a shower and put them in the trash downstairs. So that was the solution, but you had to wait on all that. It took a long period of time to get the crap out.
And you're filling bags with shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
it's pretty. Although, hold on, I do like how you said that. You're like, oh, these prisoners, they are ingenious in these scenarios. Their solution was to take a bag and put the shit in it, and then take it out. It's really remarkable.
So that was the first day of my writing. I was writing about that. The whole building reeked like a giant portaloo, and we're sleeping right next to the toilet. It's like living in a bathroom. Your toilet's there, your bunks are there. So we put a towel over the toilet to try and reduce the smell. Now, the next day of my writing, my cellmate, he's been holding a shit in for days because he doesn't want to do a dump when there's this big pile of crap already over the water level, but he can't hold it in any longer. So he pinches his nose, lifts the towel from the toilet and says, "There's way too much crap to crap on, dog. I'm going to use a bag."
Oh.
So, as etiquette demands, I roll over on my bunk and face the wall. I hear something hit the rim of the seatless toilet and him say, "Damn, I missed some."
Is it like pissing in a bottle on a road trip where you're like, oh, I'm filling up.
So he puts the bag of crap near the cell door, which made the smell even worse in the cell. Where he's got it on the fucking rim of the cell, the shit, because we've got no running water, we can't clean that off. So that looks like a fucking crustacean on the rim.
Oh,
and
a barnacle on your.
and then we were hoping to be let out of the cell to dispose of the bag, but a guard announced, "We've got no running water. We're going to have to get 120 inmates water from emergency containers. So you're all staying locked down." Now, hours and hours later, the water came back on in stages. In our toilet, its level slowly rose. So I said, "Oh shit, it's about to overflow."
This is about to be a cataclysmic event.
It's about to overflow, and we're going to be stuck in here with sewage all over the floor.
Quick, what did the ingenious criminals do?
The cellmate, what he said was, "One of us needs to stick his hand in the crap to let the water through, and you're the closest, dog."
You're the closest, like in an 8 by 10 foot room. You're 9 inches closer. Hey, you're closer, man. I'm 11 inches further this way. I don't make the rules of prison. Get your hand in there.
I was a few inches closer. So I grabbed. It was too late to do anything. I grabbed the sandwich bag and I put it on my hand and I said, "I can't believe I'm doing this." I plunged my hand into the mound and the mound sucked the bag off my hand and up to my elbow in sewage. I dug.
This is
until the water level sank. I'll never forget it. There was even like pieces of grapefruit peel mixed with the shit and everything. and then
wait a minute. Let's not gloss over that. Did some mongrel in the prison
he was eating
not know how to properly peel a grapefruit, and
just some guy down there in the common area like, "Man, this fruit sucks." Like, just take a big bite of rind.
As an aside to this story, though, Sheriff Joe Arpaio prided himself on feeding us the moldy food. I think we discussed it last time.
Yeah,
he was making news headlines for cleaning up grapefruits from rat-infested neighborhoods. So that had been our breakfast fruit day after day. Had been these grapefruits from the rat-infested neighborhoods.
Jesus Christ!
Now we've got no trash can, so at the inception of the water problem, we'd been throwing grapefruit peel down the toilet, and that had formed a base over the crap that had, So I'm digging through all this, and the water did go down. My cellmate's like, "I owe you one, dog." I'm like, "It's your turn next time.
You owe me 5 or 7
But
things.
The combination sink water had not come back on.
Oh no!
So I could not wash my arm.
Oh.
I sat on a stool till a guard let us out for showers. Hours later, just fucking caked in crap. Yeah,
and most of it wasn't even your crap.
They chose you because you were closest.
It was a blend.
That doesn't seem like a fair system.
Were you the lowest seniority in this? Is there something aside from you're closest to the toilet?
No, honestly, I just acting fast. Yeah, we just had to do it right away. Yeah, no.
It's funny you mentioned that. It's funny you mentioned that, like reaching in elbow deep, because I can really picture it. Because I rewatched the original Jurassic Park for the first time last night since I was a child, and when the lady's trying to discover why the Triceratops is sick, and she's reaching in. Except that was like an herbivore shit. Herbivore shit isn't half as gross. Isn't a quarter as gross as carnivore shit. Like you know, Kyle, you grew up around a bunch of cows. Cow shit is still disgusting, but there is something about, like, if you saw a pile of cow shit in a pile of human shit and you had to clean one of them up, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take this and the next 10 cow pies.
I'll say
over the human shit.
If you step in cow shit, you're like, oh dang, glad I wore my boots. If you step in human shit, you're like, the fuck? Who shit here?
The cow shit's mostly going to come off in the grass on its own because it's largely grass.
I interviewed a prison guard. Let me just tell you a little aside story on this. So in England, they got this thing called dirty protests, and they're called shit slingers in America. I don't know if we went over all the shit slinger stories last time, but I've got a lot of shit slinger stories.
I'm sure.
So including the Rambo of the shit slingers was this guy called Magnum. Oh yeah, well we could get to that. But I interviewed a prison guard on my True Crime podcast, and they said they were doing dirty protests day after day. They smeared shit all over the cell walls and everything. And they figured out a way to stop it. And the way to stop it was, when they let these guys go out for recreation, instead of putting them back in their own cells, they put them in each other's cells. So they had to smell each other's shit that had been caked on the walls. And it stopped. That stopped the protest quite quickly.
That's a high IQ solution.
Yeah.
That's a very good, because like you get let back into your own shitty room and you're like, yeah, we're protesting. But they're like, no, you're in room 2B. And it's like, oh, well, I understand Josh is also protesting, but this is disgusting. Like, what is Josh eating? How is Josh eating the same mandatory meals as me? How's he making this into that cauldron of a body?
Reminds me of Neil Samworth.
That's so awful.
Yeah.
It would be terrible.
Oh. We keep going the opposite.
You guys are going to hear a story right here. Never heard anywhere on any show.
All right.
Hit us with it.
True story. I was in prison with the guy with the biggest dick in the world. His name is Roberto Cabrera. He was a Mexican, 5'6", fucking size 6 shoe. And you can look him up on your phone right now and just type in TMZ biggest penis. I am in bed.
Okay.
I am in bed with I used to do his legal work. I was in bed. I used to talk about him all the time. Friends. They go, yeah, Larry. I'm in bed. My girl hits me. Says, Larry, get up. That's the guy you talk about. That's the guy. Sure enough, in the article, Yazoo. I was in Yazoo prison with him. The way he got arrested is that where he had his dick was 19 inches long, fat as a fucking Coke can, and the ugliest motherfucking dick you ever fucking saw.
Oh my God! What a curse! I hate
that. Was this the guy that we looked up one time that inject a bunch of stuff into his dick skin?
No,
oh my goodness!
Different guy.
I was in prison. Just look up TMZ biggest penis.
His cock weighs a kilo.
Huh?
His cock weighs 2 pounds.
Yeah. Oh, you're seeing him weigh it, right? Exactly, right. And that's legit as shit. Listen to a great story in prison with him. He used to have to, when you're in prison, you have to go through 2 to 3 metal detectors to go different places in the prison yard. So he's in the middle of the yard. They have a guard station with metal detectors. And it's like a point where all the place, like if you were coming from the library or the kitchen or the rec, or you have to cross into this little spot. Then you can go back to the units. Then they might shake you down in the unit. So he comes through the metal detector and they pet him down. And the guy goes, give it to me. He goes, no, mine. Give it to me. Mine. They send him to the lieutenant's office. He goes into the lieutenant's office, strip, search now. His fucking, they fucking there was a picture of him at the middle. They couldn't do that. Girl guards weren't allowed to hear him. They sent him to laundry to make a sock, like underwear, because he used to do this. I don't know.
A support garment.
Yeah, like this. His fucking dick.
Swinging around.
So a couple black friends of mine, I knew him real well, used to do gambling shit. I'd say, yo, motherfucker, there's my man. Put your little dick over there away, motherfucker. Here's my man, Roberto. It would be below his knee. That's why they had to build a sock for him and bigger pants.
That's disgusting, actually.
Actually,
this is
it really was a disgusting looking penis. So I had to see it. I told him. I did his legal work.
I'd rather have a small dick.
It doesn't look like it works.
His dick used to hang over the side of the fucking mouth. Literally.
See, like when he's like sitting on the toilet, like imagine where does his cock go when he sits on the prison toilet?
He's got to stand up, or it could get.
He's got to like hang it over.
Yeah, no. It's again. We used to ask. I said, "Hey, you ever fucking one girl, only 9 inches. One girl, she couldn't do it all 9 inches. This is the truth. He used to fuck a horse in Mexico. He used to fucking
He's an outside the box thinker. Respect.
Well, modern problems require modern solutions.
I gotta write this. Hold on.
Is he gonna get the horse? Like,
if he comes back with a little pony, I'm gonna lose it.
Just a limping pony.
I feel like I'm actually at a friend's house smoking a joint. We're telling stories and laughing.
So he would do it with the horse to kind of relieve some pressure sometimes.
Yeah, I had to get out of there for a minute.
Did you say you testified in front of Congress?
Yeah.
What was that like? What were you there to talk about?
I developed the #1 program in the country. It's called the Reality Check Program. When I got out of prison, first of all, I didn't know what to do. What are you going to do? I had a law degree, though. I still can't get my license. So it's a paralegal degree because I'm a felon, convicted felon. So I get out of prison. My thought was going to go work for a law firm, write briefs, all this shit, but because I didn't want to get back into business. So I have a friend come up to me. I'm out very short time. Comes up to me and says, "Hey, Larry, I can talk." Yeah, okay. Because I need a favor. I get real mad right away. Come out of prison. I'm not the right state of mind. I said, "What the fuck? You want me to break somebody's legs and do some shit? Get the fuck out of here before I break your fucking leg." No, lad. He says, I caught my 16-year-old kid smoking weed back. This is now 14 years ago, smoking weed. And he told me, "Fuck you, Dad. Where you ever been?" I go, "Your kid told you that?" "I'll talk to your kid." That's what he wanted me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about
get it with the iron.
Yeah. No iron. Oh, come on, no iron. He's a kid. Wait till he's 18.
I have a code, Kyle.
No, so so what happened was I went back. It just so happens I used to send pictures from the prisons I was in back home. And now I have them, and I'm with mob people and fucking gang leaders and fucking, prison fucking raw. I mean, some killers. I was in maximum security prisons. My one prison, we had 2,000 inmates, 880 had life, and I'll tell you about that later. But so anyway, we're sitting there, and not like yours, Kyle. So anyway,
yours was summer camp compared to this.
It is a camp. Yeah,
it was a camp. So anyway,
craft days.
So after
we only had s'mores 2 days a week. It wasn't that camp. Okay.
I take the kid. I take the pictures. I go see the kid. Dad was a golfer. I'm a golfer anyway. I used to be anyway. Pretty good too. Anyway, I go in. He has a gazebo. He talks to me for a few minutes. Says, "What else is going on with the kid?" No, the typical kid to me. I was okay. So I walk in, and the kid's a big kid, but I'm a pretty intimidating big guy. And I walk in, I say 2 curse words the whole time. I said, "You told your father where the fuck he's been? Let me show you where the fuck I just come from." Sat down, storytelling. This kid's dead. This kid's anus was cut from the top of his anus until his scrotum, and they found seminal fluid. Because they cut his fucking anus. I mean, I read the report. I was there. Heard the screams beforehand. I talk about that all the time. Anyway, so I telling these kids, and I was there a couple hours maybe, and you could see the kids' fucking wheels turning and changing. I leave, the dad says, "Hey man, I really appreciate it, Larry." He goes, let me give you $100. I got no fucking money. Give me fucking $100. I mean, I got out of prison. You don't have anything. They took everything. The government took $6 million from me. So I was sitting there and I fucking get the honey. He goes, can I give you a number out? I said, sure. Fuck. Sitting there and I get a phone call from him 2 weeks later. He says, Larry, I don't give a fuck what you do with your law. My kid said, I don't want to go where Mr. Law went. I need help. And he got the kid. The kid's great now. He's married, 30-something years old. And, he'll even tell the story. So, but anyway, from there, I'm starting to, people calling me friends. Hey, talk to your kid. Hey, this is fucking great, man. I'm fucking doing my own thing. I'm on probation. The guys, it's legit, motherfucker. Because I used to have to show them where I went. Because I'm on federal fucking probation. And I had a bad one. I had organized crime shit. So anyway, I get a phone call. And it's from Judge Ryman. Never forget it. It's her a judicial assistant named Jean Bandish. Jean Bandish, she goes, Mr. Lawton. I said, yeah. She goes, this is Jean Bandish, Judge Ryman's assistant. Judge Ryman, yeah, clean. And she goes, the judge would like to see you. I said, I don't want to see no judge. She goes, no, she just wants to know what you're doing. I said, listen, I know the law. You have a warrant. Do you some other way you're going to get me to come in? If there's a judge going to subpoena me? Whatever you can do. I ain't seeing no fucking judge. I was getting mad now. She goes, no, Mr. Lawton. I think you don't get it. She wants to know how you're helping the people. She heard about how many people you're helping. I'm still suspicious. I said, all right. And they set up an appointment. It was on a Friday. Now, since this happened, my nephew has passed too. He's 24. I lost 2 sisters and 2 nephews, both at 24. Well, anyway, my nephew was here, and I don't know what a fuck computer is. No less how to turn it on or do shit. And you got to remember, I went away during the biggest time of technology from 96 to 2007. When I went to prison, there was really no internet. When I went to prison, no ESPN, no phones. I had a phone when I went to prison. It was the bricks. I could beat you and make a phone call. I used to do a great commercial for Motorola. Beat a motherfucker, make a phone call. Remember those old brick phone? You might not remember.
Nokia,
oh, yeah.
And then I even had the one on the strap. But anyway, so you get out of prison. This shit's fucking Star Trek. Lady on the bus, she's got a phone. And I'm looking at it. How does this sound? I said, hey, can I see that? What are you talking about? You know what the fuck? I think about that now. She's nervous. Obviously, you can spot an undercover cop car. Well, you can spot a dude who just gets out of prison. Trust me. That day, he's got the bobo shit. He's white. He's fucking, he's looking around like he's fucking lost.
Yeah.
He comes from a rural area like fucking Arkansas or fucking Mississippi. So I go on the bus, actually. In that case, I go on the bus. I haven't been on a bus in fucking all those years. I've been on Con Air and buses in shackles and fucking leg irons. I've been on Con Air 16 times. So I see this girl sitting there. Holy shit. I haven't seen a fucking girl. But don't let anybody kid you. The most thing they miss when they leave prison is food. That's the most thing you miss. Anybody who's been in prison will tell you